Let's call this meeting to order by the Mount Pleasant Executive Member, Anita Paquette. I'd like to give a land acknowledgement. The Mount Pleasant Community Center is situated on the traditional, ancestral, and unceded territories of the Musqueam, Tsleil-Waututh, and Squamish nations. And I'd like to welcome the audience. I'd like to read a respect statement. Tonight, let us all respect the land. Let us all respect each other. Let us respect the format. Let us respect each other's words. Let us respect time. Let us respect all. I thank you very much. I'd like to introduce to you our moderator, Mr. Alex Burton.
Good evening, everybody. Hopefully you can hear me okay. Thank you all for coming out. This is a great turnout. We live in a time where democracy, I think, is more important than ever, and it's really great to see so many people here and so many candidates who have stepped up to seek office. It's not an easy thing to do, so I'm just going to sort of reiterate Rod's call for respect. And when we get to the question and answer period, we're going to ask everybody to be respectful to the candidates and to the people who are asking questions. And if you're asking a question, remember to be respectful to the audience, that your question doesn't go on for a long time before you get to the question. This is the format we're going to do this evening, and it's a bit difficult for the people who are up here on the stage because they have a very short period of time, but we have so many people here and we want to get to your questions. So with 9 candidates, if we give everybody a minute each to introduce themselves, we call it the elevator pitch. You got a minute to say who you are. We were going to do 2 minutes, but we didn't anticipate that we would have so many candidates here. We'll give you a chance at the end after the questions to be able to speak a little more, and you'll have a sense of what the audience is interested in when you do that. So we're going to give each candidate a minute to introduce themselves, maybe say why they're seeking a seat on City Council. Then we're going to have 2 questions from the Mount Pleasant Community Center Association, the sponsors of this event, and then we're going to turn it over to you, the audience. For the people up front, Rod has a series of signs that he will hold up when you're running out of time. In terms of how much time we have to ask questions, I'll let you know that usually we ask that the person asking the question will want to direct the question to a particular candidate or candidates. Sometimes they say everybody, and so your time response will be sort of somewhat dictated by how many people are going to have a chance to answer the question, so we can get to as many questions as we can. If there are 2 representatives from one party and we say there's a minute to answer the question, we'll give that party the choice to have one person answer the question or divide it up equally amongst them.
1 minute.
That's how we did it the last debate we did in the federal election. Okay, so without further ado, I think we're just going to go from left to right. So we're starting off. The first candidate on your left is Ms. Roller Girl. You have a minute to tell us why you're running and who you are.
I want to run because there should be more car-free days. We should not pay rent because who can afford to even feed themselves. Safe our community, safe and be kind. The cops want to be safe, but they don't know how to be kind, so they don't even know how to be safe. They use the bullets before they even use safetiness, before they strike. Just the safetiness and be kind, and rent has to be fixed. BC housing should be just implemented for everybody, because if we don't have to worry about paying rent, and therefore less stress on us and less stress that we can just afford to feed our children and feed ourselves, and to have more recreational time. Car-free days. We should have multiple car-free days. Shut down Gastown and get more car-free days. If we're going to shut it down, get vendors down there. If they can't afford it, there's opportunities. I can't afford $200-300 a weekend. So like safer. That's go for me.
I appreciate a minute can go quite fast, but we're here because the audience is here and they want to ask questions.
That's okay.
Okay, thank you. Next up is Theodore Abbott. He's running for Team, and you have 1 minute.
Hi folks, my name is Theodore Abbott. I'm 27 years old. I'm a lifelong Vancouverite, born and raised in East Vancouver. I'm running for City Council because I think that we have a city that is essentially broken, and it's being run by billionaire developers, and that I think that we need to retain some balance in the city. I think that I've grown up in the sort of post-Expo 86 era of Vancouver, where we have been steamrolling neighborhoods, displacing residents, displacing tenants, and making the city more unaffordable every single day. I have a background in urban geography and urban studies. I host a podcast called On-Site Report. For the last year, I've been working as a community and political organizer with Team. This opportunity to run is really meaningful to me. I like the opportunity to try to incite some change at City Hall and try to build a future in this city, because although I'm from here and I'm committed to the city, I'm also seeing that my future here is precarious, and I'm not sure if I'll be able to stay here. So, thank you.
Thank you. Rod, I'll just ask you to hold that sign up in front of the people so that the candidates, so that they can see it as well. And if you want to check about how much time, Rod's your guy. Our next candidate is Colleen Hardwick. She is running for Team.
I'm short. Greetings, everyone. My name is Colleen Hardwick, and I'm running for City Council. In the by-election, I sat on City Council between 2018 and 2022. I was originally elected under the NPA, but left under certain board shenanigans, and went and was one of the founders of Team for a Livable Vancouver and ran for mayor in 2022. I'm running now, as I was before, because I have a very strong sense of commitment to this city. I was born and raised here. I have 2 kids and now 2 grandchildren that are hanging on, trying to be able to continue living here. My background is relevant in urban geography, political science, and urban land economics, and professionally my business involvement as an entrepreneur have shown that I am capable of complex problem solving. So I'm back.
Thanks very much. Our next candidate is Jennifer Dekina, excuse me. I got it wrong, didn't I?
Good evening, everyone. I'm Jennifer Decena, Filipino-Canadian, and residing here in Vancouver. My first home is Mount Pleasant. I was been here 11 years ago and became my home for 3 years. I was homeless for 2 weeks because of homelessness. For that, I advocate for something. I have to study hard to make a community worker. I'm a healthcare worker and as a case manager right now for children, youth of disabilities, seniors all over British Columbia. I know where I'm coming from. I am not a bystander. I'm a proactive listener to all of you guys. So whatever your problems are, I'm going to speak to City Hall to advocate for you. Vote for me and we will be there, all of us. Thank you.
Our next candidate is another independent candidate, Karen Lidsky.
Thank you. I was driven to run in this by-election by the degree to which the city's skyline is closing in, which is being done on the premise of an improbable narrative that this frenzy of building dense clusters of phallic monstrosities is going to get us to some desirable destiny. I feel strongly that it is time to put a full stop to building towers and indeed to stop densifying the city at the current pace. Densification and the housing crisis narrative tell us that if we build enough supply, we can ultimately satisfy demand and then prices will drop. This is absurd when our real estate is being sold into markets of 1 billion people. We cannot rely on a supply strategy to meet what is literally an infinite demand. We can, of course, keep building until Vancouver is a modern Kowloon city, and then we will have to say that Vancouver is full. If we can declare it full then, why not declare it full now when there is still some quality of life here? That's my time. Thank you.
Our next candidate is the One City candidate, Lucy Maloney.
Hi everyone, my name's Lucy Maloney. I'm your One City candidate for City Council. I'm an environmental lawyer, a road safety advocate, a West End parent, and I've been rent-evicted from my home and had to move when it wasn't my choice. Vancouver is my chosen home. Vancouver desperately needs progressive leadership on this council, and I'm a proven advocate who has constructive relationships with other candidates and with people who are currently on council. Ken Sim and ABC needed to be held to account for the decisions that they keep making that are hurting people across Vancouver, and we need tenant protections and more housing for the homelessness crisis and the housing affordability crisis that are affecting our city. Thank you.
Next candidate is Annette Riley, running for the Green Party.
Hi everyone, I'm short too, so I just missed that. Hi, I'm Annette Riley, I'm with the Green Party of Vancouver. I rent in East Van. I live there with my husband, my 2-year-old, my 14-year-old, and my cat. Again, I am a renter. Mount Pleasant was the first place I moved to when I moved to Vancouver. It was the only place that would accept a single mother from many different options. I'm a film worker, mostly a first AD, most recently. Anyone who knows, I'm a colon cancer survivor, stage 3B. That was 13 years ago, and that led me to my advocacy work with young adults with cancer, with Young Adult Cancer Canada and Colorectal Cancer Canada. This is the month that you should be thinking about getting your butt checked, by the way. And I'm a board member of the Gender Equity and Media Society. I do a lot of advocacy work with them as well, within my realm of my scope. So I'm really excited to be stepping up here for Housing for All, healthy communities, and accountability. Thank you.
Hi there, my name is Sean Orr. I'm a dishwasher, musician, artist, and writer. I've lived in Vancouver for 47 years. I've always used my platform to stand up for what I believe is right and to fight against bullies and to fight against exclusion, to stand for our Indigenous folks, renters, workers, and our trans brothers and sisters. And I just have to say that there's somebody here who does not. There's somebody here who uses that to target people, and I think we should all condemn that. Karen Litchke, you're a transphobe, and you should, and I think I call on all parties to call that out. I call out bigotry wherever I go. Thank you very much.
I'm just going to remind the candidates that we have a respectful policy. You can disagree on questions and answers and point out your differences, but I'm going to ask people to refrain from personal attacks. Notwithstanding, you may feel very passionate about your differences.
On that note, hi. My name is Guy Dubé. For your Anglophones, it's Guy Du. I am from the beautiful West End. So yes, I'm not short, but I'm fat, and yes, I am gay. And I go by he, him. I'm running because I'm tired of bullies being in control. What's happening in North America right now is a time for us to stand up. If we believe with a lot of what this young man just said beside me, we have to stand up for the people that are not as privileged as me being born as a white man. I want to stand for those that don't have the voice, that don't have the means. We need social housing that is important for us. I'm a child of social housing. We should be too. We don't make over $80,000 a year because that's what seems the mayor is focused on. And if you make 90 grand a year, you don't need my help. You don't need our help. So I'm running on equality, inclusivity, and we should be a guiding light for the country because we are the best city in this country, if not the world. So, that's me. Thanks.
Thanks, Rod. We now have a question from the Mount Pleasant Community Center Association, the sponsor of this event. Is Anita, are you asking the question? Thank you.
majority of council in December 2023 voted to ask the BC Legislature to abolish Vancouver's elected park board. The Association Presidents Group, which represents 19 community centre associations across Vancouver with thousands of voting members, strongly opposes the elimination of the elected park board. Do you, as candidate for City Council, support or oppose the elimination of Vancouver's elected park board? And if elected to City Council, will you support the current elected park commissioners keeping their positions at least until the people of Vancouver in 2026 election express their opinion on the Mayor and Council's motion to eliminate the park board?
I take it that's a question for every candidate up here?
Yes.
Yes. So we're going to start at the other end of the tables with Guy, and I'm going to give everybody 1 minute to answer the question.
Okay, thank you. On the first part of that question, do I support what they are doing? No, I do not. I believe we do need the park board. And would I ask them to keep it going until the citizens of Vancouver have a chance to vote? Sorry, I see everyone holding up, so I'll stand. Yes, I will. I want to keep them until we, as citizens, have a choice and vote on it. And also, I'd love to see a reward system, to be honest, so if that could get going at some point in time, too. That would be great, because the park board is important to keep our parks going. We know there's a lot of stuff that's needed all over the city, not just in certain parts. I'm lucky, the West End, we have the beautiful big park, but we need more in the community. I want to see a Vancouver that is a walkable city. I want all communities to have the same opportunity that I have in my neighborhood. Parks, pools, community centers, cafes, community housing that is affordable for us all. Keep car parked and walkabout. That's what I'd like to see. So yes to both of these.
No to the first.
No to the first, yes to the second. That's right. Thanks, Sean.
Yeah, I'm the same. No to the first, yes to the second. COPE has always supported Parks Board, always supported democratic institutions, and I strongly oppose Kingston's unilateral decision. He's even drove a wedge in his own party to do this. No one voted for this. He does not have a mandate to do this, and I will do everything, including working with those candidates that you mentioned on reinstating the park board and defending the park board, and fully funding the park board as well, because council does fund park board. Yeah, hand it over.
Thank you.
Same here, no and yes to this one. This one here is, in my opinion, and I might get a little fiery here, this is an affront to our democratic processes. The people of Vancouver use their voices to elect these people, and to suggest that that we should remove them midterm is an affront to our voices being heard. Plain and simple. And yes, I really would love to have their own funding there as well, because I do believe that they act in the best interest of Vancouver for the most part. I mean, obviously governance is hard. But here we are, we need to have our park board. Vancouver is all about the natural beauty. It is baked into our culture here to be outdoors, to go enjoy the green spaces. It's part of our livability. So we need them to be guiding that, and know only if and when the people of Vancouver say that this should happen is when it should be brought to motion in council. End of story.
I'm going to stand up. I'm tall. I think that we should retain the elected park board. I don't agree with just deciding to get rid of it because the park board, suddenly you lose your majority on the park board, which is what happened. What was the other part of the question? Sorry, I've forgotten. Oh yeah, should the park board commissioners stay in their roles until the end of their term? Absolutely yes. I have been endorsed by the 3 ex-ABC Park Board Commissioners, and I've worked closely with Tom Digby, who's the Vancouver Greens Park Board Commissioner, and I know how important the Park Board Commissioner's jobs are and how difficult it is for them to weigh up competing priorities about what communities want to do with their green spaces, and how important it is for us to protect our green spaces from developers and from neglect.
Lean toward retaining the present Parks Board model as well, but I think that shouldn't be taken as a statement that everything is perfect in Parks Board land, and the Stanley Park logging operation that's going on right now might be the best indicator of that. I do think that the Parks Board, in any case, should finish out its term. This does raise the interesting question about the fact that we're dealing with 4-year terms. This has been a gradual increase from 2-year terms not all that long ago, and I actually feel that 4 years is too long altogether for civic terms. As your second question illustrates, the Parks Board can't make decisions independent of City Council anyway, and so there may be some changes. Maybe the way the Parks Board is funded needs to be looked at. It's kind of an interesting history that the Parks Board was designed was created to manage Stanley Park, not the city parks, and so that's been a change in mandate that maybe needs consideration.
Can I ask you guys, how many parks do we have in Vancouver? How many parks are there in Burnaby, in Westminster, and in Surrey, right? There's a lot of parks in Vancouver than those towns, different towns. So we need an independent Port Boards Commissioner to adhere to the guidelines and mandate of the community of Vancouver. Therefore, I oppose strongly that City Hall should mandate the Parks Board, that to eliminate the Parks Board. I am with the 19 PG Association Presidents Group representing 19 community centers. I am with you guys. I love Parks Board. I like Stanley Park. If you remove the logging, if there's a logging that's happening right now in Stanley Park, we will immediately have deterioration in animals' habitat. We will remove everything that is in Stanley Park. So we should be aware that there's an illegal logging in Stanley Park.
Thank you very much. That's your time.
Over my dead body, will we get rid of the elected park board? This is overstepping by the mayor, who's trying to further undermine democracy in our local government. It starts from there. And why did he say he was going to do it? Because I'm going to save you millions of dollars. Well, anybody that's been paying attention knows that in 2009, when Penny Ballum was city manager, they did a core services review and consolidated all the facilities management from the park board into the central city. It's been done already, just so you know. What it's really about is the land that the parks are on and having access transferred from the park board and the fiduciary responsibility of the elected park board into real estate and facilities management in the city where it can be disposed of. That's the truth of it, folks. It's all about the land. It has nothing to do with saving tax dollars. It's just another scheme for getting at the park.
Oh, God, you're
I'd like to
third?
speak on that, or?
No, we're doing 1 minute.
Okay, just before we go on, I just want to say,
1 minute.
where is ABC? Where is ABC? We should have.
Let's focus on the question, and then you'll, at the end of your time, you'll get a chance to bring that subject up if somebody doesn't ask about it from the audience. Okay? Go ahead, Roland.
We're sick and tired of, we get enough sunshine? No, we don't, okay? We don't have powers to regulate our sunshine and regulate our health. We need our parks relaxed. We can't even afford our Olympic swimming pool. We need that, okay? We need our potential Olympic supporters to get out there and get some gold medals for Canada, okay? This is all about Canada. This is Canada land. This is Park Board's got to stay. We need to make more pools. We need to have more dog-friendly, unleashed. We need more community. We need more everything. Screw all these rich people. Thank you. Go for Roller Girl.
Next question.
Good evening. Thank you, everybody, for being here. The city controls the Park Board's budget, including funding allocation and spending towards major capital projects. As you may know, Park Board designated funds from within their own allocated capital budget in 2022 toward the replacement of Mount Pleasant Swimming Pool, a project that has been committed to but delayed for over 15 years. Council vetoed the Park Board's capital commitment to this aquatic strategy priority based on some staff rationale that does not seem to me very convincing. I have here. Everyone should now be aware that Vancouver has the lowest number of outdoor pools of any major city in Canada per capita, and our indoor pools are also closing or at risk of closing. Even the YMCA pool is planned for closure, which will further reduce our options. With the Vancouver Aquatic Centre and Kitts Pool taking up most of the capital budget, the renewal of other outdoor swimming pools, other swimming pools, will continue to be delayed as thousands of people in other areas of the city continue to go without equitable access to aquatic recreation, fitness, and life-saving lessons. What would you do on council, if anything, don't answer if you wouldn't do anything, to support the renewal of more swimming pools in the city of Vancouver?
Okay, we're going to have a minute to answer this question as well. I would encourage the candidates to answer the question, which is what would you do if you were elected, not whether you're in favor of more pools or not. Okay, we're going to start with table number 2, the team.
Yep. Okay, thanks. So I want to start off by saying that pools are not a luxury, they're a necessity for communities. And if I was on council, I would take the city back to working with an ABC council, obviously, in this by-election. But I think we need to go back to a referendum model. I think we need to go back to a model where we put that question to the community. We say, hey, do you guys want a new pool? And obviously the community votes yes, and then it happens, because the current model is not working.
I must confess, I grew up in Percy Norman Swim Club, Vancouver Amateur Swim Club, and Dolphins, so I'm a bit predisposed to doing everything I can to help the pools. Anybody here remember the old Mount Pleasant Community Center and pool? I used to work at the community center when I was an undergrad, and I swam in that pool, and it sure would be nice to be half back. But we have to sort out the capital plan at the city and the way that it intersects with the Park Board capital plan, because it's been mismanaged since the financial crash in 2009. That's the answer.
Jennifer?
Hello. As a city councillor, in the future, if you vote for me, ensure that the public pool funding is equitably distributed among all 25 community centers. Push for immediate progress on the Mount Pleasant pool replacement. Number 3, hold City Council accountable for the past delays and work with community organizations like this and the Park Board. Park Board is always present in this. And number 4, advocate for creative solutions as temporary outdoor pools. So swimming pools are not a luxury. They are public service. They provide essential access to fitness, social engagement, rehabilitation, and life-saving water safety education. So let's go for this.
Well, my sense would be that motions can always be usefully brought forward with a comparative framework when we look at what the city is spending money on and what they are permitting to be spent. It's always useful to raise some alternatives that might be more productive. So I'm not shy about doing that sort of thing.
I would definitely use my constructive relationships with the Park Board Commissioners to help support the facilitation of a dialogue between the different parts of the community as to what their priorities are in terms of the use of green space in this area. One of the biggest issues is how to pay for it. Aquatics are the most expensive thing that the Park Board does. But that being said, we need to have a funding model for the Park Board that allows them to set community priorities and pay for them.
This one's near and dear to my heart. I go to Britannia with my kids. That's where they take their swim lessons. But when I was here with my daughter, who was 6 at the time, I was shocked that Mount Pleasant didn't have a pool, to be frank. When I started looking into more as to why, it was very disappointing.
They buried it.
Very much in line with what Lucy was just saying there. I definitely would be working very closely with the Park Board to make sure that that funding is being allocated across Vancouver. I know Adrienne Carr did vote to have the pool. She was voting in favor of this pool. So, but that was many, many years ago, right?
Yeah.
So many years ago. And quite frankly, there's backroom deals that are happening where there's funding going to the Park Board without it being approved. So that needs to stop. Transparency is an issue. We need to get that in check so that we can have fairness across the board.
Thank you. Sean?
Yeah, just going to address the elephant in the room. We're all talking about funding. Ken Sim has raised property taxes the fastest in history, 24% or 23.68%. Where's the money going? His savings on the Parks Board is $7 million out of a $1 billion budget. That's 0.7%. What takes up 21% of our budget? The Vancouver Police Department. We need to redirect that funding towards our communities because that is a public safety issue. Having healthy, happy, sustainable communities is a public safety issue. And somebody else mentioned it, there's 70 pools, outdoor pools in Montreal. We have 5. That's a disgrace. Thank you.
Do we agree with that? What I would do is I would continue the process of voting against anything that says no to recreation and outdoor parks and pools. It was important to have the community. I know it was $15.9 million was presented for the pool for you guys. And of course, that went nowhere and it's gone, of course, it'll be more expensive. So there are ways, I think, to go with not only our partners in other forms of government, but also have about the Lululemon leisure pool. You want to give us $50 million to help the community, let's do it. Corporations, because we see corporations happen with many larger scale places.
I don't know what to say about this.
Let's bring them in for smaller projects like outdoor pools. I used to be a camp counselor. I remember the kids every summer swimming in the pools. They don't have to be large, but we need places to gather for all ages. That's what I would do, is vote and harass as much as I possibly can the ABC government. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Rosa, do you want to answer the question?
Yeah, year 2018, I'd run for mayor. Okay, all the big money comes from the federal government, the provincial government. Okay, that's where we're the lowest grade on the continent. Okay, all the federal money goes to the federal government, the provincial government, the municipal government. Okay, so as prime minister, okay, we're the lowest. We need to ask the provincial and public government, that's federal government and provincial government. That's all I have to say, we should have many pools, we should have Olympic pools, we have track and field. Come on, man. This is British Columbia, we're the most active. So why don't we act like it? Vote for Roller Girl, thank you. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. We can now open the floor for questions. If you'd like to ask a question, I'd ask you to line up at the microphone at the front. I'll repeat again, please respect both the candidates at the front of the room and the other people in the room and their time to give them a chance to ask a question. So please try and keep your questions brief and
quick.
advise us if you'd like a question directed at a specific candidate or candidates or all the candidates. Thank you. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you. This is a question for the political parties in the room. Did your party, or in Team's case your council, vote for or against the Broadway plan? And how do you think that plan is working out for the citizens who live in the 500 blocks affected, including many blocks here in Mount Pleasant?
Thank you. So that we're going to start with Lucy Maloney, and then we're going to go to Annette Riley, and then Sean, and then end up with you.
The Broadway plan has great tenant protections in theory, but not in practice. I want to re-establish the renter office that Ken Sim abolished to make sure that tenants who are under threat of eviction, not just in the Broadway plan area, but all over Vancouver, can make a single phone call and find the help and support that they need, including policy advocacy to all the departments of the City of Vancouver, and actual enforcement with teeth. At the moment, we've got the nuclear option where a permit can either be permitted or not, and after that there just aren't enough enforcement options in place to make sure tenants' rights are protected. Thank you.
Thank you.
Point of privilege?
Yes.
If there's a question answered, did you vote for or against something? Should that question not be answered?
So thank you for your observation. I'm going to let the candidates choose how they want to answer the question. The audience is more than capable of determining whether they've answered the question that's been asked or not. Thank you.
On council, there was 3 Greens when the Broadway plan was brought to council. 2 of them voted for, 1 voted against. That Broadway plan that was brought to council was a very different plan than what has happened now that we have provincial mandates. It preceded the provincial mandates. And what was voted for was a minimal, very small amount and slow build of towers through the city. And that is not what is happening now because of the changes that ABC has been actively doing. The Green Party also wanted the towers, we did have to have them near the major intersections such as Main Street and Broadway to be social housing at 100%, and that was voted down. So these are where the tenant protections, they do need to be enforced, and that's what I'm going to go in because we have to do it now because of the province. So how can we make it so that we can mitigate?
Thank you. Sean?
Yeah, of course, I'm proud to say my predecessor, Jean Swanson, give it up. She voted